Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. I just finished this eye tutorial and I realized I still had a little bit of light outside, so I wanted to sit down and film another video for you guys that I had been thinking about quite a lot. Recently, while I was looking through my eyeshadow palettes, I was trying to figure out which one I wanted to wear for the day. I saw a palette and it made me think, you know what, I've never picked that eyeshadow back up. Or that eyeshadow palette. And then I was like, you know what, there's several that I have actually never picked back up. I bought them, I reviewed them, and then obviously I liked them enough to keep them. Usually if I don't like an eyeshadow palette, or if I buy an eyeshadow palette and I review it and I don't like it, I return it. And there's some that I know I'm not going to use, it's a good palette, and I keep it, and then I'm like, you know, and I end up selling it or giving it away. These palettes here are not bad palettes, but I've never picked them back up. I've never once thought, oh, yep, I want to pick this one back up today, or I want to play in this one again today. So I thought I would share with you guys all the palettes that I've bought, reviewed, and then never picked back up. This is the palette that actually triggered this idea for me. This is the Tartelette Toasted palette from Tarte. A lot of T's there. I actually like this palette. The problem is I have so many warm tone palettes that I just never went back to this one. This was the first Tarte palette I ever bought. And I think it's because it was like the first warm tone one I ever saw. I need to do another Shop My Stash and use this one again because I like it. I have so many warm tone palettes that this one just always slips right under the radar for me. Next up, I've got one from Kat Von D. This is the Shade and Light Glimmer palette, not to be confused with my beloved just regular all matte Shade and Light. I just don't really, I don't know. I think it's pretty, but it doesn't perform as well as I want it to. It's just kind of meh, but I don't know. I've never really wanted to get rid of it either. I think it's pretty to look at. There's a few shades in here I actually really do like, but I've never reached for this again. I think I did a get ready with me. I didn't even do a review. It was just a get ready with me. Used it. It's all shimmer. It's pretty, but I don't know. I think maybe it's just not as impactful as I thought it was going to be, but I'd never used it again. This is the Saharan palette by Juvia's Place. I just spent so much time trying to say this. I'm sorry, I'm laughing so hard. I said it like 10 times before I could actually spit it out. There is absolutely nothing wrong with this palette at all. I actually think this is really beautiful. The shades in here work really well. They're nice and pigmented. It's a great price range. I think this one is due to, I don't use color a lot unless I am real specifically wanting something or a specific shade just triggers me to want to do it. And day-to-day life, I usually go for a just natural look or just something with natural tones. If I'm going to be dramatic on the daily, it's more like this. So I don't know. I feel like, again, I need to pick this one back up. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just I've never reached for it again. Fenty Beauty. This is the Galaxy palette. You guys remember where I told you I'm like, I have a thing for this style, like oil slick packaging. I'm so obsessed with it. So I feel like that got me. But again, all shimmers, and I get the thing behind this, you know, you're gonna pick this palette up with another palette or like all shimmer and then all matte. I just don't do it very often. Like if I'm going to just go reach for a glitter, I think it's gonna be like the Stila shadows because I'll just go grab that and add it to whatever look I'm gonna use. I do not think to go grab a shimmery palette. I don't know why, I just don't. This one is super duper pretty, again, from Kat Von D. This is the Pastel Goth palette. You have a ton of all matte like pastel shades in here. I actually super duper duper love this palette, but I've never picked it up again. I especially love this shade right here, Clementine. I just think it's so beautiful. Maybe I'll try to remember to pick this one up in the springtime. I mean, it's a beautiful palette. I have no intentions of getting rid of it. I really like it. I just don't use it very often. Very often, I haven't picked it back up. What am I talking about? This next one is from Bobbi Brown. This is the Peace, Love, and Beach palette. I actually compared this one to Tom Ford. This center shade right here is like the Tom Ford Toppers. I think this is a beautiful palette, but I have the Tom Ford palettes, and so if I'm not filming or if I'm not doing a specific look or maybe a Bobbi Brown look, I definitely would suggest this to people that don't want to spend Tom Ford money. I understand that completely, but I have Tom Ford, so generally speaking, I'm going to go grab for Tom Ford, but that sounds so pretentious. I don't mean for it to. I do think this is good. I just don't reach for it. This one I actually think I might sell. I don't really think I'm ever going to pick this one up again. I liked it. I wasn't in love with it whenever I did the review on this. And this one is from Urban Decay. This is the Heavy Metals palette. I actually like the packaging on this. I know a lot of people didn't. But yeah, so you've got the beautiful color metallics and then all the nude ones. I don't know. I'm uninspired by this palette. It's Urban Decay quality, so it's not bad. It's just not phenomenal. It's very mediocre to me, so I know that's why I don't reach for this. But I probably will go ahead and either pass this along, sell it, do something. This is a new one from MAC. So this one hasn't been out that long to really like, oh, I've never picked it back up, but I'd never plan on picking this one back up. This is the MAC and Jeremy Scott palette. I'm dumping stuff everywhere. I only bought this for packaging. I mean, really. And then some of the shades are okay. Some of them are a miss. Some of them are good. It's very inconsistent in here. I just am like, meh. I just wanted the cool boom box. I really just like the whole inspiration behind the collaboration. I thought it was so 90s and fun. But yeah, this is going to go back in its box and I'm keeping it just for collector's purposes. Now this one kind of hurts my heart a little bit. I didn't really want to talk about this on my channel because I felt like I was being negative, and everyone I feel like just recently is falling in love with this brand, and I feel like I'm kind of falling out of love with it. But you know what? This is just my opinion, but I feel like that's what I do on my channel is I tell you guys how I feel about things, so I'm just going to do it because I have been asked and asked and asked several times for the new palettes from Viseart. I've never picked this palette back up. This is the Viseart Theory palette in Minx. Do not get me wrong. All of the 12 pan matte ones I love so much. They are phenomenal. What I think is happening is that they are becoming more known and they are upgrading their packaging. I feel like the mattes are not the same as they used to be. These right here are still pretty good, and the Nuance and the other ones that I got, the mattes were fine. I'm not in love with the shimmers. I did just recently get the, what is it called? Tryst palette. And I actually returned it yesterday. I got it, I used it, and then I was so uninspired. The pink was just, I thought it was going to be more peach, and then it was too pink on me, and so I was blending the shimmer shades, if I could speak, on my eyes, and they just kind of seemed to muddy together. I do think that the shimmers are a little bit better than what they are here, but I'm kind of falling out of love with Viseart, at least what they are putting out right now. I love, in theory, like the whole look of the palette, but there's just not the same to me, and I hate to say that. I like the Grand Pro. I like pretty much all of their all matte palettes, but like I've never picked this one back up. I remember buying it because when I was at Sephora, I swatched these and I was like, oh yes, and then I used them and I was just kind of disappointed in them, and I know a lot of people love these shimmer shades just because they think they're work appropriate. I get that, I understand, and I am not going to rain on your parade if that is what you want to do and you love it. It's just for me, maybe if I hadn't tried them initially, maybe, I don't know. I'm just not really into it anymore. The new green palette, all I can think of is that I'm going to be disappointed, and I have the Marc Jacobs editorial that is phenomenal. Phenomenal, and I have every shade in that palette in the editorial, so I don't think I'm going to pick those up to review because I haven't been feeling it. So that's just my 2 cents. Take it with a grain of salt. Anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed this video of all the palettes I have not picked back up since purchasing. Let me know some of the ones that you have in your collection. You're like, I don't know why I love this palette, or I don't know why I think this is great, but I have never picked it back up. I want to know what you have in your collection that you aren't using. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys. This is the Saharan by Juvia's Paint. This is the Saharan. This is the Saharan by Juvia's Place. Is it even Place? No. Yes, I don't know. This is the Saharan. This is the Saharan by Juvia's. Isn't it Juvia's Place? What the? Yes, it's Juvia's Place. Why does it just say Juvia's on here? It's throwing me off.